So I'm on the two different drawings. And hello. I'm Dan Lutz, and welcome to Dank Live. Without Tank for now, but we do have Tui today. We're on it's for us. It's on this side of the world. It's Thursday, July 11th, and I have not been able to reach Tank yet. He's probably on another broadcast, and he'll show up at some point. But I do have Tui here. Hey, Tui. Hello.
Hey, Dan.
How's it going, Tui?
I'm very well, thank you. Firstly, I just want to say hi to everyone. I want to say Bulavinaka and good all of you in good health. And thank you so much for joining us today in our Dank live show. And thank you so much for everyone that's listening in, right now live, and everyone that is under the chat room. Thank you so much for joining us and being with us in this very important point in our time and in everything that is happening. So wherever you are on the planet, wherever you're listening from, whatever time that may be in the future, much love and blessings from Fiji. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for the hello, Tui, and hello to everyone in the chat room. We've been having some fun doing these shows, and never know if we're going to be able to get a hold of Tank at the time. When he's he's sometimes prevented from getting online. I tried to reach, and the line got cut. after like 3 rings of either he was on another broadcast or he got disconnected, one of the two. So it could be either. But for now, we can keep rolling forward. We're in the time of bringing forth this new abundance for the world. A lot of it focused on Fiji as being one of the first places. I know also of my friends here in the Philippines. So he kept saying, "No, it's supposed to come from the Philippines first." I said, "Well, hurry it up." Yeah, the Fiji's going to beat you guys. You know, it's all right. You know, if it comes from there, it comes from here. So,
but that's basically what Fiji represents. Fiji represents this moment now that it's going to start everywhere on the planet. It doesn't have to like physically or linearly in time start from Fiji. Everyone that is awake, it will be able to. They already beginning. They already start. That's the most important thing that everyone has to remember. So within just a few days, I was not really joined, but because I was doing a lot of communication, we would be needing some fund to start up a financial institution. But now we figured out that we already have one. We can just use that one. And so today we'll be able to meet up with the guys that already have that, and we'll sort it out. And as soon as the New Zealand people come in, we'll be able to try and create that, and and learn new things from there, from the accessing the private level of of the banking system. I know it's what we're discussing here. Sometimes should be very, what you call this, what do you call that, confidential, super secret and all that. But what we're actually discussing is the freedom of everyone on the planet, and the way to do that is to not to hide it from them. So the more we hide it, the more they're going to enslave themselves. And so the process of
it's part of their system, right? Is to control the information. They compartmentalize. Remember, you're trying that word the other day. Compartmentalize.
Yes.
Yeah, and they keep compartmentalized. So that they keep everything separate. They control the information. They keep it secret, and then someone over here doesn't have all the information, and that one doesn't have all the information. But if they got together, they'd really know what was going on. And this is part of the secrecy that has to be broken down. The secrecy does not lead to our security, does not lead to our safety. The secrecy leads to our slavery.
Yes. Because it's funny you mentioned it. If the trust was not compartmentalized, everyone will be receiving fund right now. Because the guys down below, that is involved with the Rothschilds and the banking system, they don't even know the M1, the trust, and all these systems. So that's when and these things, when something is it's first time for them to, and they don't even know it. So that's why we're in this problem in the first place, because of all the secrecy and all the separation of information. And I see we have the Dank.
Yep, Dank is here.
Hey, Dank.
Hey, man. How's it going?
Bulavinaka, Dank. We're going very well in Fiji. It's good to see you.
Yeah, man, you too. Yeah, so,
sorry, Dank. Yeah, no, I was just discussing we were just discussing on the system and the current system, and why we are here in the first place. And we could have avoided this all at once if everyone knew about the whole picture. Everyone down below and everyone in the past and in the future as well. So that's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to link everything up and try to make everyone know that they are part of this big whole change, and they have to they have to do this, and they have to understand that they can't do this alone. and that's to everyone on the planet. That's the most important thing that we're doing right now. And so, yeah, I'm thankful for today and to the show. I just came to meet the elders because there's some things just came up, and we kind of have some. Very soon we'll be accessing some funds, a very big amount of fund, and we'll see how we can because this has been, like I said, I told Dan, it has been this was known already by the ancestors, and they kept this fund in every part of the planet, in England, in Switzerland, in the United States, in the New Zealand, in Australia. And just a few days ago, this fund started popping up and all the information about it. And so it's about time that we help set up this set up and help the trust transfer fund. So we'll try. We have all the different puzzle pieces. All we have to do now within few hours and few days is just to put it together and let the fifth element of love do its own work on trying to reorganize and trying to organize itself to to help everyone on the planet free themselves and become sovereign. And so I was in tears yesterday because of what I've seen and all the information and how our ancestors sacrificed some of their time, some of the people, and to be able to keep this fund and these funds. I know maybe when one day we'll talk with Kim, she will be able to she'll be able to know more about it because she understands the way that these funds are invested. So for the last 100 years, the
Hey,
the,
the children there are a little loud,
yeah.
so a little hard to hear
kids.
you.
I mean, I hear you fine.
Oh.
The kids are great.
Oh, I love the
Sorry,
kids. If they start getting louder,
Yeah,
louder.
that's them.
Hi, hello.
So, Tui, let me ask you a question here, man. So you're talking about a fund.
Yes.
Hey, baby. So where is this fund? That you're talking about? Like, where is it coming from? Where is it being kept? I mean, this is separate from the trust you're talking about? Tui?
The answer to that question, I think, is yes. It's separate.
Yes. This is couple of billions of dollars and almost trillions of dollars that has been invested. It is gold that has been invested almost 100 years ago by our ancestors, by some of our chiefs in the tribes, because they knew that this is going to happen now. And so just a couple of days, I was able to reach the guy that the first trustee to be able to reach that fund, and he's investing it right now. So I'm gonna try and organize that, so he would be able to invest in creating, because we are in this very opportune time of the banking system, coming to near collapse, and we can able, it's going to be an opportunity for us to try and get. If we can have that amount of fund, then we'll be able to buy banks and create a new system from that, and hopefully the old system, the old guys that have been in control will be able to learn some lesson from it. But if not, then they will just we'll let them be what they're gonna be.
Have you run this by the guys from New Zealand about that fund, or have you told them about it?
Yes, that's like I told them. I didn't wanna like talk about it now because I will need more what you call this more not evidence, but what's the word that I used then? More. Slip out of my mind.
Yeah. Well, just wait some time for things to move forward.
Yeah, you're gonna. Tui, I, I hope that's true. I hope that's true. It sounds to me like a lot like historical assets that are often that people often did have access to at one point. But I mean, and I might be misunderstanding, but I don't know that you'll be able to access that still without the trust. Because
Yes, like I said, like I said just before this, we have all the pieces together. We have Kim,
oh,
and
I see. Okay, I got that's what I didn't understand. I got you.
because if those assets, because I will see from this couple of things, because they've taken some fund from it, about a few billions, and they've already been invested from the past 5 years. And so I will see if it's still happening now. If not, then I'm sure that everything has been entrusted to the trust. And so as soon as I figure it out, because I want to find out from Kim on that, because I think she would be able to because this has to do with all the assets that has been mined in ground asset, and all that has been mined from here in Fiji for the for the past 150 to 200 years. And so and I will see that and because that's the reason why I really need her to be in that conversation that we're going to do with New Zealand, and the conversation with Jagamara from Australia. I really want if she would be able to be there, and maybe she would be able to advise on the next step to take together, and we can move forward from there. So I know these funds already exist because I already have the records from the what's called this the physical record. Some of the chief has come up, and we even have account here, and they still can access that account because of the way the banking system has been designed, and which is why we need the New Zealand guys to make Fiji a kingdom, so that we'll be able to access and be sovereign, and be able to own our own asset and own all those assets that has been mined from us, and that's where Kim will come in and fulfill her role as what is supposed to be as a trustee to what it means to be sovereign. So if I because right now it's just new information, it's still substantiate. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I'm trying to I'm trying to substantiate that easily, because we need that fund now as soon as we can. I've already tried to get into contact with that guy that's already a trustee, and I will need just maybe a couple of thousand, a couple of maybe 100,000, or just to set up um, that financial institution here, and we'll be able to access, and we'll be able to get.
Whenever you move the money, just remember this: no matter what they tell you, there is no difference between moving $1 billion or $100 if they're doing it the right way. So just so when you go into with the intent and the confidence. I mean, I feel like this is something we should probably work on a little bit together, just to kind of coach you through it, Tui.
Yes,
yeah,
that would be good.
We could take some time, man. I mean, I'll make sure. I mean, whenever you call, I do my best to answer. I've been missing calls, so only because they don't come through. But I do all I can, make sure, like, whenever you call, no matter what hour, I sleep light and I jump right up if I phone. So, but we can talk about it, and let me know when you go to talk to that guy, and we can work on it. Because I'm kind of used to these accounts. It's what's tough is that everybody's done things a certain way for so long, and the problem is almost none of them really understand how it works. So at the end of the day, it's like, if they've been trading up assets, all the everything really exists. All the assets on the planet really still exist within the trust. And I've I mean, in all this time, I mean, past 2 years, I have never once found that to be untrue. Every single time, anybody who says they have a separate account, that account is still in the trust. At least in my experience. So, not to say that it couldn't be something totally separate, but obviously the fact that they couldn't access it is a good indicator. Because they can't access it because you're talking about bringing down assets from a, turning
Yes, indeed.
turning M1 assets. So you're basically taking assets, turning it into cash. So they might be able to invest it though, because I think that sometimes works. They're able to invest. So we'll see. We'll see. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We got to get it done one way or another. We got to figure it out, get this done, and get moving. So
yes, indeed.
Yes,
but it's
indeed.
a little frustrating. It's a little frustrating at this point. I mean, we really, I really wanted to. I want everyone to get moving. It's that time.
Well, it looks like it's that time. It's here now. It's the back. When I'd meet with these M1s, right? Yeah, and especially the ones that say that they're representing the gold, or they'll talk about the mountains of gold and the warehouses, and I said, well, what if they don't allow you to bring it out? What's your backup plan? Well, it looks like Fiji had a backup plan, or they put something into place 100 years ago. I said the same thing about like a lot of the Marcos's, unmentioned children that I've met here. I said, well, what's the backup plan?
Right.
Yeah.
We'll see. Put in place to move things forward.
We'll see exactly. There's an account here in Fiji that we will be able to. We'll see. We'll be able to access because it's part of the. I will try and understand that a little bit more. Because at this moment, that's all. We have accounts all over the planet, all over the world. We have accounts in Fiji, in New Zealand, in Australia, in Switzerland, in England, and in the United States. And now that they're coming up because it's money for this change. Because that's what we're going to direct that fund for. And there's no other chiefs in Fiji that will be able to direct that fund. If it comes in, I'll be directing it to help and get the banking system ready for the trust to transfer fund. Because that's ultimately what that money is for. It's basically to help the whole.
That sounds to me like Kim has accounts for every single country that are just exactly what you're talking about. So I'm excited to see, what it is, one way or another. Like we know it's here. We know it's all happening, right? I'm not really sure what what else has to drop. I mean, right now they're being exposed on so many levels that your elite is a massive group of satanic pedophile rapists, right? So it's kind of like if that doesn't ignite something in humanity to make a different move, I don't know what will. So should be interesting. Should be an interesting.
Yes.
A lot of week left still. So
and it's the funny thing about this history, they just came up and they because I already knew that there was this man. He is the one that actually invested. He created this company in Fiji. It's called VT Company, which is simply just the translation of Fiji company Fiji from English to Fijian. VT Company, and so he created this in about more than 100 years ago. And they were able to acquire gold, sell bananas and every assets of the country, and they were able to invest it all over the world from that time. And it just reached maturity in 2015, and that's reaching its 100 years. And so, just a few days ago, that came up, and because we were looking for funds. And I said, oh, so we'll be able to get that and access that as soon. And like it's all summing up to what the New Zealand people will come and do, and that is to try and privatize and get us, get a kingdom. So we'll be able to own those assets, and and King will be able to be the trustee of what for we become sovereign. So if we can do that in Fiji, and Kim is also there, and we can work together with everyone, uh, every country in the world will be able to do it after that. We'll be able to follow that same step. So it's never been done. It's never been done in a very long time. So the New Zealand people, I'm trying to get funds so that I can get them as soon as they can to Fiji, and get Jagamara and everyone else to Fiji. And we work, and we move everything forward from there. So that's the reason why I'm reaching out for that fund. If it's accessible, it's not binded to the trust yet, and then it will be good so we can accelerate what we're going to do within these few days. So we'll see. And we'll see about that fund. And I'm trying to aim for the ones for the accounts in New Zealand, in Australia, because there's already a connection of mine in Australia that already, he's actually the what you call this, the attorney for the company, for the VD company, and so he knows the amount of money that is there, and he knows how much it has, and he knows that it is dedicated to the people. That's everyone on Fiji, not.
So Tui, so this has been an ongoing enterprise of investment and running businesses from this money. So that it's part of the existing system with liquid cash and assets.
I guess that would be right.
So there would be no restrictions on moving money if that was the case. If they invested in ongoing concerns and that was worldwide.
If you can move just even just a 5 million or just 3 million from there to here, and do everything that we're supposed to do, and we'll be able to get that connection to the trust, and we have to do it. I told the groups in Australia and New Zealand that I can't do this without Kim. Everyone can do everything outside of Kim. They have to, because she has all the accounts, not just the accounts, the code for every country. And so that's what the Kingdom of Manna didn't realize. They thought that they would be able to access the black screen on their own, and they would be able to register everyone under the black screen and get everyone sovereign. But they don't understand that Kim still she's the trustee of the asset. That's they're gonna get stuck if she's not in. So that's why they didn't last long. That's why the Kingdom of Manna went that way. It was a good idea, but the problem was it sounded like some involvement with the Rothschilds that came in, because they wanted to do that, like the way they used to do it before. But right now, the security or the SARA agreement is actually a quarantine of the asset. Quarantine simply means that everyone that has to involve in these chains has to be spiritually aligned. If they are not spiritually aligned, the intention of how they're going to use their money, Kim will actually know, and Kim will just see through all the pretend and all these, pretend that they are good and all that, and she would stop them, because that's how this change will happen. This change cannot happen without the spiritual alignment, which is, like Dank was saying, the intention and all these. You have to be cool. You have to be, all that. But that's what I naturally am. I'm the intention and everything that we're doing right now. And everyone, the 2,000 people that I've already trained for these past 11 months, are already fully aware of everything. And so that's why we're able to access and move. And it's so easy to train people here in Fiji, because they just come, willingly on their own. Even now, we didn't have fun. That's why I've stopped the training, because I didn't want them to train anymore until the funds begin to move, and we can provide for everyone's their transportation and their food and all this, and then we can continue on from there. So we're stuck right now on trying to. Because we went to the bank last week, like I mentioned, like you already know, and I called Kim up, and she started explaining on the risk that Fiji has right now because of the Reserve Bank of Australia and the pathway that the money will take, and they will be able to take the money, and it will never reach Fiji. So I understand that, and it was happening right there inside the bank. And so everyone was listening to it. So Kim explained about everything that they're trying to do, the Chinese government trying to do, and all that. And so I said, okay, that's good. It's I mean, we are here. We haven't done this before, so it's a good learning lesson for us, and we'll be able to take another step. And so as soon as that conversation happened, the people from Zagamar, my Matangali from Australia, was able to see the significance and the importance of what we're doing right here in Fiji, and how we'll have to start it from here. No other way we'll have to do it, because everywhere else the public trust has been the administration has been done by the Rothschilds, and that's why they control the public platform, which is a blue screen in financial, in banking terms. And so everyone that's using the blue screen, that's administration by the Rothschilds, and that's why it's so hard for Kim to move the asset, move the funds to anyone, because they are the one administrating the financial system, and they don't recognize Kim, and they want to go against it. And so and that's why we came up with a plan, which I'm broadcasting now outside to everyone, so that even if Rothschilds are listening in, they have to understand what they're doing. That they're the one that's causing all this problem, because they're still trying to follow the old program. Everything has already been reset. So the lesson that they will learn is the collapse of the banking system, because Kim won't allow and won't give them any money. So that's why you have all this bank, what's that bank from Europe? Deutsche Bank. Dutch Bank?
Yes,
the Dutch Bank. Yeah, and the Citibank, all these, almost like 600, almost 1,000%, liquidity, negative liquidity, and so they can't take it anymore, because they can have, they don't have Kim, and that's the reason why they have to, if they can't adapt to the change, they have to move, and it's like the parasite has to be removed in that way, by cutting off the mouth that is feeding them, or the energy. And so the reason, so they come, Jagamar came up with a plan to try and organize and open up a terminal here that's directed, because the trust is on the private, which is the black and the gray skin. We can create a connection from here directly to the trust with the help of you and Dank and Kim. We can do that together, and and immediately start transferring the fund, and we do that the same thing at all these different countries. As soon as we get funds from here, we transfer it to that country. We buy bank from there, or we create a bank. We create a system direct to trust, and then at the same time they have been they create kingdoms of all the tribes that's in that, and they become sovereign in that way. And then that's the way the trustee become the trustee, and everyone will become the beneficiary of the trust that has been kept for all these thousands of years. And so that's this the current plan that we do right now. And the first step is to make Fiji, get Fiji to a private state, or private level, especially in the financial sovereignty side of things. That's the job of the United Kingdom of New Zealand, which is the descendant of the high chiefs from there. That's going to be coming, because he's the only one that has that capability to do that, and he will be teaching everyone on how to actually do this in not just legal way, but also in the banking system way or financial way. And this is the reason why we're trying to create a new bank, or maybe buy one, or create a new financial institution, which is not a bank. It's just a money lending institution. We already have one here, so we're going to try and utilize that, and we'll see. We'll come up with what we have, and we'll work on it. And so as soon as after we talk now, I'll be visiting my those my brothers that have that. It's an investment group, and if you can organize the same thing and get a secure connection to the banking system, or when the New Zealand people come in, we'll be able to do that as soon as we can. So yeah, the fund that we're trying to reach for now is just to try and get that done and get the New Zealand people and get the people from Australia and start it up, and maybe we'll be able to prove it to Kim that we can do it in this way, and if it can be done in that manner, we will do it, and that's what the plan right now. So yeah, I'll be organizing everything that we have to be ready for, and they are trying to look for the funds to bring them here, and that's what they're going to be doing. We will be doing what we're supposed to be doing. Everyone around the planet will have to be learning from what has been done. I've been hearing about the people from Denmark trying to do the same thing, and I said, yes, we're going to do the same thing in Denmark. Even though you have the royal family there in Denmark, uh, you guys can, because this is just for fun, and it represents the sovereignty of everyone, every people, every living soul, and the people that are already involved in the project, they will try and write a letter to Kim recognizing her sovereignty. And I said, in order for you to be financially sovereign as well, we will be able to do the same thing, that we're going to do here in Fiji. But we have to do it, and set up an example or set up a template and learn from there, because this has never been done before. And if we can access that fund that we have already, if we can access it, somehow, and if we can do that, and if there's a lot of funds, we'll be already be buying tanks all over the Pacific, and we'll be working as soon as we can with Tank as well, with all his connections, and we'll try and do that around the planet. And we'll have to organize security as well, because like everyone knows, it is actually a it's a stand, it's a standoff. It's almost like a war. We have to try and protect ourselves as well. And so that's right now that's what we're going to try and do. We're going to try and sneak in and try and do this, but it's not a secret anymore now, because I'm telling everyone, everyone out there, looking forward, to meeting you guys, and always look forward to meeting you guys. And I know that all your thoughts and prayers are with us in Fiji. We also, understand that the need everyone needs on the planet is also on the line. And thank you so much for being with us today on this show. Thank you, Tank. Thank you, Dan. Much love and blessings from Fiji.
Much love and blessings from the Philippines.
Yeah. And here. Oh, man.
You're a bit soft in your as well.
I'm soft. Can you hear me now?
Now you're good. Yeah, there you go.
I'm really anxious to see how all this plays out. A lot of these hoops, I feel like, really aren't necessary, and I wonder, I wonder with all that. I think it's a good learning opportunity, just like Tui said, but a lot of stuff I know for a fact that it shouldn't have to be like this. That's obvious. That doesn't have to be this way, but something about it to me, I'm just like, it makes sense that Fiji would have a fund like this, but it's not outside the system.
They were very forward thinking back then. 100 years ago, they made the law of the land and the book of life. It makes sense that they would go ahead and take some of their gold and put it out there into the world as investments, so that this time, when it was time ready to come, that there would be liquid funds to bypass all the blockades.
Well, yes, that makes a lot of sense. That you invest.
I'm just like what Tank is saying. I'm just hoping that we'll be able to access it, just like a few years ago or last year or 1 year ago, that they've been accessing it and investing it. So as soon as I figured it out, because at this point, I'll be able to substantiate that, and we'll access. If we can access that, and we'll be able to access, not just a few millions, but billions. That's the beginning of everything. We're gonna support our trust from the beginning to the end, and we're gonna use that fund in that way. So we'll see in these couple of days that we're gonna talk with the trustee right now, and we'll see how accessible the funds are. If it's in the trust with Kim, or if it's still outside and still be able to be accessed, without the trust or in that manner. And so we'll see.
Well, Tui, what's the status with the guys in New Zealand in turning you into a kingdom and coming out to set those things up? I mean, what's the status of that? Because that's I mean, not that this is separate, I guess, but I mean, it's gonna require similar functions regardless.
Yes, the the thing is right now. I know it's totally has to do with funds. That's what we lack right now. We need to have that fund to.
Listen,
Yeah.
that's gonna be the title of my autobiography. Like, I get it. I'm just saying, but I understand. I get it. We lack funds right now.
Yes.
We got everything else though. We got everything else going for us.
No fuel. No fuel. No fuel.
Yes, I'm very thankful to Luis and Patanggalit Zagamara and Pita and everyone from that team from Australia. Thankful to the people in New Zealand, to all the guys that already involved. Thankful to the Bougainville, the King David from Bougainville, and what he represents. Thankful to all the chiefs in Fiji and what we represent, and for you guys, for Kim and Dank, because these are all jigsaw puzzle that we have to put together, and that's where we are at right now. We have all these pieces that is separated, and within these few days we have to put that together. And the funny thing about this is that the trustee that I will be contacting to send the fund or to ask him for fund is living in the Philippines, where he was exiled. And so then,
yes, of course he is.
Why you can,
that's why Dan is a secret agent working for him. Yes. Just in case this happens.
Yes, and so it's just coming together, and it's really wonderful to see these things. It's amazing. This is it's not normal. It can't happen in a lifetime. And the main thing is the financial system in the world and the crisis is actually behind us, and we are just riding that wave. And if we have that opportunity to buy every bank, we'll be able to convert the whole planet in that way. And so that's Tank, you have you have that connection with how to actually buy banks and stuff. Jagamara also, my Matangali in Australia, and they sent me a copy of a photo of the $1 billion note that he has that is backed by gold, and he's already promised that he's going to come to Fiji and invest it in our financial institution so we can kickstart the project. That's $1 billion note, and it's the first time for me to see.
Did that have JFK's picture on it?
Yes, it's JFK's picture, and it was signed by the M1, the last M1 that before, I think it was before Kim. And so and he was gifted with that $1 billion for exactly for what is happening right now. And it's very, we already have $1 billion with us, Dank, and then we just have to ask him to we just have to ask him to put that and bind it and put it in, and so we can actually liquid and get it moving. And it's just a note that Zagamara has been given, and he was given it was given to him by the royal from Indonesia. He was also given the ring, King Solomon's ring, which is because they are descendant of King Solomon, and he was given this because of his role to fulfill the prophecies of the fifth element. And to be working with him, it's such a blessing to be in working with them and being talking and sharing And I know they've been waiting for us for a long time, and now they've figured it out that it is that we have no one has to left out. Everyone has to work together for this to work. And so that's the beauty of this. It's not just only one person that's going to stand and do it. They will all be stuck. We have to all work together. And so I will try and get everyone together in a Zoom call, so everyone has to know their role. And if we can take that $1 billion and start buying banks with it, it's and he's already talked.
Hey, Tui, do you know the name of the previous M1 in Indonesia?
It's written on that document that he has, that Kerja Kamar has, and he's a signatory for that, and he's already got his that with him. And then as soon as we start this up, boom, we'll begin the change that, like Tank has said, create change.
Exactly. Create change. Try it.
Okay. Well, I'm ready to go meet him, so I'll sign off now. I'll leave right now. Head to go meet him.
Imagine, we already have $1 million or $1 billion with us.
I know, that's why I want to sign up now. I don't need to stay here anymore. No time to waste. We've got a lot to do.
Yeah. All we have to do is get that into liquidity and start moving from there. Because we can even start from that $1 billion if everyone is listening in. And
it's called mobilization money in the Philippines.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
We can, because that's why I brought this up in this chat, so that people can become open minded. We already have $1 billion with us. We can buy banks with it. We can start this up, and so then the trust will come in and complete the whole thing. And so that's already something outside of the trust. And so $1 billion.
There's some pocket change.
I hope that happens. I hope it all happens. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And I know it's all going to happen. I just at this point, to be honest, I don't even care exactly as long as it comes in and people are empowered. I want people to have the opportunity to thrive. That's really what
indeed.
It's at this point, it is I do appreciate people are doing their best to stand up and take action any way they can. But it just gets to be a point where it's like, why are we still playing games with these guys? I just feel like, it's right now too. We started mobilizing the militias all over the country, right? And part of the reason why I felt it's really necessary to take that action is because in August you've got a group of veterans that are going up vigilante style to start, kicking ass and taking names with Antifa. Right. And so I would just rather get organized and kind of get them and kind of educated. It's the same way you are, really, with this group, and be like, look, we need to take a stand. Like, we need to have the force there. And at the same time, we have to be able to, take a stand with dignity and say, look, we are here with the force to fight, willing to fight, but we don't want to. We just want things to be done the right way. We just want our ability to stand up to, and we want people that are criminals to be just removed. And I'm not trying to even have people are going crazy here in the U.S. They want all these pedophiles tortured, and they're so mad, and I knew that was going to happen at some point. And hopefully they don't get too detailed with these reports, because they are horrifying, and they're so horrifying. They do have the ability to shift the vibration in a negative way, even though this is what we need to happen. We need this to come out, but there has to be action that is decisive now. There has to be something else right now that combats that energy with positive energy and really empowering energy, so people don't feel like they're still being treated as victims. If people still feel like a victim, they're going to act like a rabid dog when they realize it's finally time. And I just, energetically, on the whole, on the collective consciousness of the planet, I think it's essential right now that funds come in now. So I'm excited that you're on your leading point on it, man. So here to support if I can.
Thank you very much indeed. Like I said, everyone can't do this alone. We have to do it together. And yeah, can't do it without you, without without Kim, without Dank, without Dan, without everyone that's listening in. The sovereignty is within you. That's why we have to do it together to be able to recognize each other and realize and be empowered. It's like what Dank has said, be empowered, and no one else will be able to empower you but yourself. And we're just here to create that environment where that happens and everyone can stand and stand. Well, that's basically what's happening right now. We are standing for our sovereignty, and that's what the fight is for. We are standing for our sovereignty, and we are gonna get that no matter what, because it's the spiritual energy of the planet is already awake. It's already time for it. And so yeah, excited for the next few days, whatever it may come, whatever probability it may happen, or how it's gonna happen, whatever probability is gonna come up, we're gonna try and learn and adapt and continue on pushing forward and make sure, because I need, like Tank said, we need this fund as soon as like yesteryears.
Right.
We need this 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 1 year ago. So we are just we're gonna do all we can in Fiji. We're gonna do that. We will try and press on and try and access that fund, and because that was meant for everyone in the country, not just not just the indigenous people, but everyone. I know the funny thing that we learned, especially the chiefs here, we learned from the email that that you read. Then the way it's because of the English language. The in our native tongue we call the land Vanua. And if you've read our that letter that we wrote about sovereignty, about recognizing Kim's sovereignty, uh, we use the word Vanua and not the land, because the Vanua, it's the unity of everything, like the air, the water, the people. It's no one is separate, and that's why people are sovereign. We understand this in Fijian, and the whole world has been separated from the land, and that's why the banking system is working in that way, because they were able to separate you from birth, from this energy outside of you, and they separate you from the awareness of the God inside you. So they were able to implement it in the in the religious indoctrination, and they take their focus outside. God, guarantor of deed, which is inside you. That's the guarantor of deed. And so in Fiji, we understand we have no separation, but in our legal system here, we have what you call the native land, and native land simply means that the land doesn't belong to us. and that's it's really fascinating to us, because in our Fijian language, it's we the land are one. We're not separated. But in the way it is legally put into the legal system and to the laws, there is a separation. We become native, and the land is a native land. It's not a crown, and that's why we are not crown. We are not kingdom yet. We are not sovereign yet, and the land doesn't belong to us. It belongs to the queen, who is the sovereign one, and that's why we are called native and native land. And so we are going to change that.
Yes, indeed. I like it. I like it.
We are going to call this place a kingdom, and will become sovereign, because God, the Yod Ved, Od Ved, and the spiritual energy, the fifth element, will become, will become the king, and that's why everyone, that's everyone on the planet, no matter what tribe you may be or wherever you may come, your ancestors come from. If you have 5 fingers, like I said, you have the fifth element agreement, and you have that awareness, and we are just the embodiment of that knowledge to come back up, and so that everyone will be able to see it. And this has been a secret for thousands of years, even since Solomon's time, and that's how the banking system that Solomon, it's all based on the 10 Commandments, and that's why I need everyone to understand the 10 Commandments. It's don't add any other thing on the Ten Commandments. It's just the Ten Commandments. Those four commandments in the beginning, that's the most important one. That's what the crown is, and the crown is in you. If you understand the Ten Commandments, that's how the banking system works. Only two pillars: the crown and the six commandments behind it. That's the crown outside, the kingdom outside of you, and the sovereignty of others. And so that's why I've been sharing about the Ten Commandments in a very very in a very discreet manner, because it's very specific. All those words, even if it's translated from Hebrew to any other language, it will still mean the same. It will still mean the I am is the I am inside you. The I am, which is the Elohim, which is the Yod Ved Hod Ved.
We should
Yes.
take one program and go through all the 10 Commandments, Fiji style.
Okay, sounds good then. I will enjoy.
Whenever you're ready to do that, you have to prepare or anything. We can start it. We could try tomorrow, or we could do it now. If you want. It's up to you.
Yeah, we can do it some other day, because it's a very broad topic,
Yes,
and because it has to do with sovereignty, and that's why I'm here to to remind everyone about who they truly are, that God is not outside, He's in you. You are the guarantor of deed, and if you forget that, then you'll be learning the lesson of slavery by the Rothschilds. And so, if you don't know who you are, please don't complain about being a slave, because you are being a slave because you don't know who you are. And so that's why this is very important. The whole structure of all what Solomon did according to everything that you value on the planet, he used the Ten Commandments, because the Ten Commandments is the law of balance. It's not only used here; it's used in every different timelines, in every dimension, and whatever agreement that's in the dimension. Here you have the water, the land, the air, and the fire, and all the other dimension, whatever dimension that they use the same thing, because the spiritual energy within all those things is just one. It's the fifth element. It's the awareness of it's what God is. That's we are connected to all those things. We're not separated from that, and that's how the quantum system is designed as well, and that's how the quantum system works multidimensionally through time, in the future and in the past. And so, as soon as you figure yourself out, you will understand how the quantum system works, and your intention will be according to what the quantum system wants you to do. And so, it will be so easy for everyone to access that fund. If you don't know who you are, then I'm sorry, the quantum system won't recognize you. The fifth element, and with everything you're trying to do, will always be stuck, because the lesson is so big. And so, the banking system that Solomon started, that is taken up by the Templars and now the Rothschilds, is designed only according to the Ten Commandments. And that's the hidden awareness that they take value of everything that you value, and they make you slaves because of that, because of your unknown, or because of you not knowing who you are. And so I'm sure that will be a very good thing to do, to actually dedicate a show just on that topic. I don't even have to read it, because it's already inside me. I don't even have to go and prepare for it.
Okay.
It will just come out. It will just come out naturally. I'll just talk, and then it just comes, like the way I do every time.
Well, it's a good Friday topic, so tomorrow's Friday.
Indeed.
Unless you want to wait for Sunday.
Well, we can do it. It can take 2 shows to actually discuss that, because it can take 2 shows, because it's the most important. I began, in this show. I began when I started talking with you guys. I started out with that. That's if you hear the first few shows that I started talking, that's the main thing I was talking about.
Let's start again. I'll start from the beginning. You can do 1, and it's 1 through 4. And because they're about the same. You said that they're all very important. But,
yeah, it's not just very important. It is the most important thing. The whole reason why the banking system, I'll tell you this, the whole reason why the banking system has been standing this far is because they follow that commandment, that balance. the balance within yourself and outside. This is called equity. They have been balancing everything, equity.
They've been balancing
because they've been balancing everything because they understand how that, like, yes,
clearly there's a different interpretation if they've been balancing by the 10 Commandments. because they
yes,
I would say that they're not. They've been outside of every law. They're bound by nothing. The Federal Reserve told Congress that they answer to no one. So I'm not sure that it's there's gonna be a lot of interpretation, a lot of open eyes, I guess, because I don't see that at all.
Yeah, equity means something completely different to the rest of the world, because of the way they've hidden it and abused it. So
right.
we have to be aware of what it means, and so that'll be very good. We should start with that tomorrow.
I guess the more we discuss it, the more the more all the different information that you already have will have a certain kind of values that you already have. And so it will just add on to everything. It's not supposed to be true, or it's not supposed to be wrong or right. It's just information that we share, and everyone else will be able to take in and create more from that, and understand more from what they've experienced, from what they've learned. And so we keep an open mind on that, because that's the 10 Commandment. It's simply that those first 3 commandments and the fourth one, those are that has to do with the crown, and the sixth separation, or love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's the equity that enslaves everyone. And that's what they take away from you from birth, and so and they disconnect you from your crown, and they become the crown, and you become the slave. And so that's why everything on the planet is under that crown. And it's even though the crown is already changed, it's already said, there's still some people, so like you said, they've been so used to doing these things in all these times, in all these years, that they don't know that if you change, they can't change, because they're so used to it. So yeah, it will be good to actually discuss that a little bit, because that Jesus said in the new Yeshua, he says that that's the greatest commandment. You love God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul. And then the second one is just like the first: love your neighbor as you love yourself. And this is just a different dimension of the 10 Commandments, which just combine the whole 10 and separate it into 2. And so they use this from the beginning, and it's just word of trickery, and that's why people just like I said yesterday, like on that show that I was discussing about the letter. It is very. That's why in the future I will take the English language and I'll remove it from Fiji.
I better learn Fijian.
Because in our language in Fijian, we use the sovereignty language, like straight up. We don't hide it. Turanga Marama. That means you are sovereign, sons and daughters of the living God, female and male. In that, but these guys, they use the English language in such a very, very, they have so much hidden meaning that if you read it in a certain way, you think this is what it means. To them, it means something totally different.
Yeah.
And it's a very I don't know. It's just it's a very deep settings of illusions that they've said so far. So to actually get everyone confused, and they don't see what they're actually doing. So it's like they create magic in front of us, and we have to undo that magic and undo that spell by understanding all these words and understanding them.
Tui, in the QAnon now, the latest coming out in the last day, is all talking about what they're doing to con us, like the con artists, to create this false narrative, the con. And we've been all in a very big con. They use the language to we think it means something. They've actually going by another meaning, and they in essence enslave us by this because we end up agreeing to what we think we're agreeing, but it's not what the reality from their legal
Yes.
ease.
No, it's
So,
1984. It's 1984. It's newspeak. They use language to limit the options of what we believe is really happening. So the more they limit our language, and you can see it very obvious. If you look at a letter written by a high school student in like the 20s to a high school student now, you wouldn't even believe they were both educated. It's so dramatically different.
Yes.
There's a way
go
to
back
address
100 years ago.
You can see the
PhD students at the age of 13.
Yeah, you can see the intention, the pure intention in the language in those days, and not the hidden intention that we have now. And like we can just read that, and we can see the pureness of what they're talking about. It's coming from the spiritual in within. Now it's all it's all just the illusion is it's not real. It's physical. It's outside. And so reading all those language in the way they write and the way they do, the way they think, even in those times were much sovereign than what we have now. And it's not surprised because of the education system and the way they've designed the religious indoctrination, and we just have to figure it out, and we get ourselves from that. We get ourselves away, and we heal ourselves from all these illusions that they've that they've set up.
Yes. Well, I'm anxious to get off to Manila. Unless there's anything else, we should have a powwow before I leave. So, both of you check out the links I just sent to you, and we'll host another little conversation before I take off.
All right, cool. Bye.
Okay, I'll just say thank you so much for everyone. Thank you, thank you everyone on the live chat. Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for joining the discussion. Thank you, Dank. Thank you, Dan. Everywhere, thank you everyone in the future listening in. Wherever you are in the world, whatever time, whatever part, much love and blessing from Fiji. Take it easy. Peace.
All right. Peace out.
Love and blessings. Love and blessings from the Philippines. All right, guys. See you in a bit.